Yhorm's Great Machete is a Great Axe class weapon that you get from transposing the soul of Yhorm the Giant. Its R1s are overhead crushing smashes, its R2s are overhead crushing smashes. Its rolling R1 is an overhead crushing smash, and if you're not catching on to the trend, I don't know what else to say. So, basically every single attack with this weapon will be a crushing overhead smash of some kind. There are no horizontal attacks. That covers your R1s, your R2s, both one-handed and two-handed. The only horizontal attack with this weapon is going to be when you use its skill, Warcry, to gain a special attack on its R2s. And even then, it's still not exactly horizontal. And the only part of it that is somewhat horizontal is technically angled, so it is what it is. As far as this weapon's performance in PvP is concerned, I really have no complaints about it. It's a fantastic weapon with a great damage output, good combos, and fantastic amounts of hyper armor. So, really, it's just a great weapon overall, nothing else to say about it. Showcase done. Except for the fact that this weapon does have a few glaring cons, but we'll get to that in just a minute. First, we will start with the basics. So, Yhorm's Great Machete. It requires 38 strength and 10 dexterity in order to wield. It has at +5 and A scaling in strength and no dexterity scaling. This is purely a strength weapon, and there's really no shock to that. Its base damage is going to be 338 pure physical damage, and as I mentioned earlier on, its skill is Warcry, which in addition to boosting the damage that you deal, with this weapon in particular, it gives it a unique moveset, which is a very, very good thing. So, we'll start off with the pros of the weapon. I mentioned them briefly, but to get into a little more detail on them, let's just start off talking about how amazing its hyper armor is, because really, it's the bread and butter of this weapon. Damage is all well and good, but if you can't actually deal with people who are swinging fast weapons, and you get stun locked consistently, there's nothing you can really do about it, and having good hyper armor really helps to mitigate that situation. So, because this weapon's hyper armor is really just top notch, you can go for hit trades very frequently and you will win. Another big benefit to it is the fact that while you are going for those hit trades, if you do manage to get one hit, it's pretty much guaranteed 2 hits unless they're really spamming the roll button and are wearing lots of heavy armor. That said, I like to have an aggressive playstyle, and that gets me into trouble personally. Take this fight for the sake of example. I am chasing them down, I am going for it, and I'm trying to roll around, hoping that they'll stop their R1 spam. Here's a hint, they didn't, and most people don't. This weapon is not good at dealing with a situation like that, and interrupting someone's R1 spam. Yes, if you get the trade, you are in a good position and you can do a little bit of R1ing of your own, but in the situation that I just showed with that fight, going for a roll attack, going for anything like that, does not work well. In a situation like that where someone's using a faster weapon, you have to bide your time and really sort of play a little more intelligently. I'll show that in a later fight on how I personally do it. It's just a more defensive, more patient play style. It's not the way I prefer to play, but at times it is necessary with slower weapons. And that does lead us into a con of this weapon, actually. The weapon's swing speed is a tad bit slow. And as such, well, fast weapons can be kind of scary and kind of dangerous. You can't always count on the fact that you're going to get the hit. You can't always count on that, because if you don't, and they manage to dodge and go for a rolling attack, you can get stuck in their R1 spam. Needless to say, that's not an ideal situation. So, don't do it. Other pros of the weapon though, back on that topic, I'm actually a big fan of the fact that this weapon's skill gives it that unique R2. Because that weapon's R2, people don't necessarily expect. You can bait people into that attack extremely easily and extremely reliably. And all you need to do is unlock and walk away. That's it. Unlock and walk away. They will start to follow you, and then you just press R2, you'll turn around, lock on before you do it, just walk away, turn around, press R2, you're good, you'll hit him, it's no problem. No problem at all. And the reason for that is you actually run forward a little ways, and before they know it, they're running straight forward into your attack. needless to say, I'm sure many of you guys can see the immediate benefit to that situation. So, that's a good strat. I like doing it. Another strat involved with that R2, when you have that skill in use, is the ability to have someone get caught in your second R2. A lot of weapons, when they have the Warcry skill and they get a unique moveset of sorts, they only get one or so unique attack. With this weapon you get two. Technically a total of 4 hits, but 2 unique hit sequences with 2 different R2s. Overall, it's a good thing, because people don't expect that. Plus, it uses a ton of stamina, which is, of course, a con of the weapon, but because it uses a ton of stamina, it really keeps people from expecting you to have enough to follow it up. So yes, you can have enough to roll and dodge afterwards, or you can continue to use it as bait, play a little risky. I do that more often than not, and see if it works out. Sometimes it will, sometimes it won't, but, you know, a little gambling never hurt anyone terribly much, except for a few situations I can think of, but we're not going to get into that. So, cons of the weapon, I've already mentioned a couple. One being the slow swing speed, 2 being the fact that it's really not a great weapon for dealing with some R1 spam, especially because of its slow swing speed. Other than that, I would say that the weight would definitely be something worth considering as a con to the weapon. It is a heavy weapon. It is a very, very heavy weapon. I actually forgot to make a note of how heavy it was, but if I'm not mistaken, it actually does weigh 20 units. So that's got some fair weight to it, and as such, yeah, you get the idea. It's either 19 or 20 units, and I don't recall which, but either way, that's still up there in the terms of weight. So, not all builds can really use it and fast roll very easily, at least not at the moment. And that's, you know, typically because a lot of people are keeping some of their stats a little lower, where no one's really sure of where the soul level is going to quite end yet. There's a few different ones that people are debating on, but once things get a little finalized, we'll probably see people using some of the heavier weapons like this later down the line. Yes, there are people out there using the Female Greatsword, but at the moment those seem to be somewhat specialized builds, so it is what it is. Other than that, as far as cons of the weapon are concerned, 38 strength is a little bit high of an investment, but on the other hand, most people who would want to use this weapon would be on either a strength or a quality build anyway, so you've got that benefit right there, and really, it's not a huge deal at that point, because you're still before the point of diminishing returns. You're still before that soft cap. So, overall, that's an okay thing in my opinion. Not every build can use it, but that's not the point of the weapon. So, fine by me. I won't consider that one a con. Other than that, one final pro that I did forget to mention is its range. Damage-wise, it's roughly the same as the Great Axe, oddly enough. But range, it's more similar to an Ultra Great Sword as far as the range, so that's another big benefit to the weapon. And with its little shockwave that's got around it, that can stun people even if your attack misses, well, there's nothing to complain about with that. But anyway, guys, there is one fight left after this one. It's about to start right about now. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this weapon showcase. It's the first of many. I enjoyed making it. I'm looking forward to making more. But anyway, I hope you guys, again, enjoyed the video. Please like, subscribe, and all of that good stuff. And I will see you guys next time.